Hi BookTube, it's Gina. Happy Monday. I thought today I would do a September wrap-up. I have not done a wrap-up in a long time, but I had the funnest September reading month. I reread a bunch of books and I loved them. I read, actually everything that I read, I really enjoyed. I read, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I read 9 books and I really enjoyed everything that I read. And so I wanted to share it with you since I haven't done a wrap up in such a long time. So let's start out with the things that I reread. And most of these I've talked about in a prior video. And yeah, I wanted to do some rereads this month. I wanted to read books that I knew I was going to love. And I did that. And the first is The Lord of the Rings. I reread the Fellowship of the Ring, book 1. Look at that cover. I reread The Two Towers, book 2. And I reread The Return of the King, book 3, and I love these. These are such comfort reads for me. They are very fall feeling, so a fall reread just seems so appropriate to me. They start off in the fall, they end in the fall, and I think these covers were actually drawn by a person who had not read the books. They're hilarious, but I love them. I have a few different paperback sets of these, and I'm always trying to find more because I love them. Even though I actually read them on my Kindle, I started out reading it in the physical copy, but then I love reading in bed at night with my Kindle, and so that is how I finished them off. And yeah, they're just wonderful. If you haven't read these, I would definitely encourage you to do so. One of my all-time favorite reads of all time. Yes. All right, next I did a reread of Major Pettigrew's Last Stand by Helen Simonson. This is funny because I read this years ago. It came out in the 90s, and I remember that I loved it, and I loved it again. Actually 2011. So it's a little newer than I thought, but still old. This cover is terrible. I loved it. It is about Major Pettigrew, who is an older man. His wife has died a few years ago, and it opens on the first page with his brother dying, and he is a little bit of a traditional English major, and he meets a woman who is Pakistani. She runs the shop in town, the grocery shop in town, and they develop a relationship. Now, the thing about this book, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I didn't remember the ending. I remembered the gist of the ending, like it's a romance. Do they end up together or not? I remembered that part, but what led up to it, I had completely forgotten. It was a little melodramatic. I had completely forgotten it, but a lot of the side characters in this book are absolutely horrible. Money-grubbing family members who do not care about him at all. The townspeople are absolutely hideous. They're racist, they're small-minded, they're horrible. So it has some cozy elements because they live in a small village in England, which is just, to me, by definition, cozy. But it's a pretty harsh book because the people in it are just horrible. So if you don't want to read about a lot of horrible people, I would skip this one, but they're side characters, and so it didn't bother me. I absolutely loved it. Next, I reread The Raphael Affair by Iain Pears. Iain Pears is really well known now for An Instance of the Finger Post, Arcadia. This is a mystery. It's called the Art History Mystery Series. And I love this book. I love this series. Again, I read this years and years ago and wanted to do a reread, and I owned this book, so I read it. Interestingly, I don't think that this is available on ebook. Or maybe it's available on ebook, but not at my library. It doesn't have it. So I did read this physical copy, which is shocking for me. It's set in Rome. It is Jonathan Argyle, who is a graduate art history student, and he's trying to solve a mystery of a hidden Raphael, a painting that they believe is by Raphael that has been painted over by another artist trying to smuggle the picture out of Italy. And chaos ensues, and it's absolutely wonderful, a little bit hard to believe, but really just fun reading. Fun to read this now that I've actually been to Rome, because when I first read this, I had not ever been to Rome. And so it was really fun because I was familiar with some of the places that they mentioned, and that was a lot of fun. So I've actually bought the rest of the series. There's only 6 books in this series. I bought the rest of the series on Thrift Books because I want to finish off the rest of the series. So I'm going to do that as soon as I receive the rest of the books. I actually own a couple of the hardbacks in this, but they're the last 2, so I needed to build up my collection. And funnily enough, I actually rebought one that I already had. I might just return it when I get it, but it's only $5, so I might just do a giveaway. We'll see. But if you like art history and kind of capery types of mysteries, this is a lot of fun. Next, and that was all of the books that I reread. There were 5 of them. I read this, the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, Volume 1 by Beth Brower. I really enjoyed this book. The only thing that I did not enjoy about this book is that it's too short. It's not a complete novel. It kind of just ends. And if you don't pick up the next book, which I just finished today, it doesn't feel like a complete book, which I found really annoying. But the tone, it's diary entries. The tone of the writing is wonderful. It is about a young woman who has been sorely used by her cousin, who has taken over her house. He's been given permission to live there for his life, and he is her sort of guardian until she comes of age. He's dithered away her inheritance. He has basically spent all of her money, but she is a wonderful character, and I'm very excited to keep reading because I'm really enjoying it. Let's see. So the back says, the year is 1883 and Emma M. Lyon has returned to her London neighborhood of St. Crispian's, but Emma's plans for a charmed and studious life are sabotaged by her eccentric cousin Archibald, her formidable aunt Eugenia, and the slightly odd denizens of St. Crispian's. So it's really, really fun. Really enjoying this. If you like cozy English stories, I think you will enjoy these. But you have to read, I think, all of them in order to get a full novel, which I do find annoying. I think she should have written a whole book with a beginning, a middle, and an end, rather than just kind of start it and then just, oh, okay, it's done. Buy the next book, and they're short, and I think they're not inexpensive. This one was a birthday present, and I don't think that these are available. My library does not have them. My library has the audio editions, and so I did listen to the second book on audio, which is not my favorite, but I don't want to buy I don't want to, I think they're like $10, so they're not super expensive, but there's 8 books. So you have to buy a bunch of books in order to get a full book, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to listen to them on audio, which is actually quite nice. The narrator is really good. Next, and I'm moving over to my little notebook here. There's the next 3 books I don't have copies of. I read them on my Kindle. The first is Pink Sugar by O. Douglas, which I talked about in a prior video. This was I think 10 authors you probably haven't heard of. And it's a very, very cute book. I really enjoyed it. Let's see. Oh, I read Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, and I'm gonna have to tell you guys, I'm not really a fan. So Claire Keegan's writing is beautiful. She's a really good writer. This is the first thing I had read by her. It's a very short book, very short. I'd call it more of a novella. And while I really enjoy her writing style, I was not a fan of the book. It felt very manipulative to me. Like, okay, I've got this terrible thing that I want to tell you about, and I'm going to make you cry by the end. And I'm going to make you feel really happy by the end. And you just read some negative reviews on Goodreads. I pretty much agreed with most of them. I mean, it was all right, and I can see why people really like it, but it was not for me. And then lastly, I read Emily Goes to Exeter. It is the first in the Traveling Matchmaker series by Marion Chesney, Marion Chesney is a pen name for one of the pen names. I think she had a bunch for MC Beaton, which actually may also have been a pen name. But it is a Regency romance about a housekeeper whose employer dies and leaves her an unexpected legacy. She's always wanted to travel. She every day watches the stagecoach goes by, and her only thing she wants to do is go for a trip on the stagecoach, which she does. And of course, there is a very bratty, rich heiress on the stagecoach and a roguish man. And the traveling matchmaker decides that she is going to make a romance happen between a few different people. And it's fun, it's silly, it's ridiculous, but it's a quick, very fun read. I would highly recommend. I actually really enjoyed that too. So yeah, so that was my September. I really, really enjoyed all of my reads, well, except for Small Things Like These, which actually, the more I think about it, it's not a horrible book. I don't like those books like The Kite Runner, like the movie Beaches, where they're just so maudlin. It's so like, ugh. Anyway. All right. Well, that is it for me for September. I will talk to you soon. Okay.